Thank you so much indeed. Joining us is a gentleman who is well known across this country. Yes, we heard about Randy Glasgow Productions every year, bringing us some of the best shows. Let me say a pleasant good evening to businessman and cultural promoter Randy Glasgow. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mikey, and a special good afternoon to all your listeners, wherever they may be. It's a pleasure being on the program for the first time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you on. You've called for local focus after the cartel controversy. You raised concerns about the controversial booking of Vybz Kartel, and you've broadened the critique. You're urging the entertainment industry to reflect and commit and recommit to local talent. But that's easier said than done, Mr. Glasgow. I mean, the thing about it is that, you know, there's this old saying, if you build it, they will come. And if it's a good quality, then they will continue coming back.
Right.
But when you don't have that product, when you don't have that quality, I think there seems to be a sort of a wide gap between the patrons who are letting go their finance to be entertained, and between that and the promoter who seems to think that he can give you almost anything when it comes to providing that entertainment. How then do we recommit to our local artists if the product is not top class?
Well, it's a promoter's job, with the help of a number of people, to get our artists to a certain level. And they can only get to that level by the exposure. So it's something that we have to do, because you know, you will be surprised. Well, not really surprised, because you heard what was paid for Cartel. But other reggae guys come in, their prices are 200,000 US, 250,000 US, you know, and it's kind of crazy. And when that is happening, you have the good local guys. If they ask for 50,000 US, they are being beaten down and so forth. So the whole mindset have to change. We have to pay our good local artists what they deserve, and there will be a trickle-down effect. But it seems our artists don't get the love and respect that they should from promoters across the board. And we are calling for that to change. So only when that changes, the whole concept will change, where our artists are being paid more, and they know they will have to work harder to produce the good stuff because of the pricing you're calling for. So that is where we at, and we have to make that difference and make that change and make that sacrifice. But it's worth it, because this is our country, it's our culture, and we can't ask outsiders to do it for us. Because I always of the opinion that people of the islands and so forth, they don't love us. They love Trinidad for our money and our women, basically. And that's the honest truth. You know, so we have to love ourselves, love what is ours, and things will happen. Be patient, put in the work, and things will happen.
Yeah, but again, it's a sort of a give and take situation. As the promoter, I want to get back the most on my investment as far as my return. And as the artist, I want to be paid, of course, based on the fact that, listen, I can draw a crowd, I'm giving you the best that I have to offer. So how then do you come to that one, that one page where we can both agree, rather than saying, listen, you know, I want to beat you down. My thing is to make a profit. I'm not concerned about developing the art form. I am not concerned about who has to, you know, come up in years to come and be part of the, you know, of anything. I want to make my money, and I want to make it now. You calling 3,005? Listen, I'll give you 1,005. Now, bear in mind, this did not take place overnight. There are people who would have compromised their value and brought the entire industry to the state that it is now.
You're correct, but Mikey, it's a process. It's a process of patience, and our music basically is a seasonal music. And if you look at the carnival scenario, it's just a few big artists demand the big bucks, because the promoters, you know, and the producers, they want to make a return on the investment. And in a number of cases, it's an all-inclusive event where people eat and drink free. So, you know, those things are hefty costs. So when you take care of that cost, the deal with the artist last, but they will deal with a headliner, and then they will have the trickle-down effect. But there must be the meeting of the minds. Just yesterday, I asked our Promoters Association to reach out to our so-called artists to have like a one-day symposium, so we can have that discussion, because, you know, we have to look out for our own. And what happened with Cartel mustn't happen again. You know, artists run, not artists, sorry, the promoters run to these type of artists because they feel they can pull a crowd and so forth. But local guys could. In Carnival, catch the sell, voice the sell. You know, so it's to have the patience and work with it, so you can have events that you can mix. But there shouldn't be no outright reggae show or R&B show. You must have some local content, like all parts of the world. And this is where the evolution will start. This is where the confidence, you know, will be gained by the people. Because when you see your local stars on the same stage as a major stars, those guys perform, and they perform very well. So we need more of that, and the whole concept will change. With timing, our guys will command, you know, the stage outside of Carnival, you know, and deliver for promoters.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned is that we need to go beyond gate receipts. I mean, in this modern times, you're talking about pay-per-view, you're talking about merchandising, you're talking about so many different outlets that one can actually get, you know, some sort of finance from. Are we there yet? Are we selling that? Because, I mean, let's be honest here. How many of these managers that manage these artists are saying, listen, let's expand on our knowledge base and get into other factors that is going to bring about the money that we're looking for? I mean, if I go to see an artist perform and I'm satisfied, I may want to go somewhere and purchase that t-shirt or merchandise while I'm there at the venue. How many of those things are available that those in North America could stream this with a price? That's not happening.
It's happening, not you know, as much as we want it to happen, but it's happening. At a Kes local show, Kes will have his merchandise, his t-shirt, his mugs and so forth. You know, people can buy it on pay-per-view, the TJ and so forth. So once the artist is set up and operating like a business with a good management team, things happen. You know, so all the guys who are properly managed, a lot of things happen for them. A lot of the other guys feel, well, you know, they ain't ready for management because management will take away a big portion of their fees and so forth. So they want everything. So they are the ones that will be left behind. But you have to be broad-minded enough to know you alone can't do it. You know, you have to work with a team and people doing different things. You have a sponsorship manager, you have somebody seeking, wherever the case may be. And that is how the business is supposed to run. That is how the foreign artists operate, and they operate at a high level of success because of that. You have professionals surrounding you, doing everything possible to raise revenue. And I confident someday, you know, we will reach there. We made a call yesterday that we feel Trinidad is deserving of a second carnival. A second carnival to help boost our local economy, because, you know, we were oil and gas based for many years. Right. Things was happening and you know, making a little money. But with the decline in revenue from those sources, our governments over the years have been pumping money into Carnival by the billions. So we honestly feel the time is now for Carnival to reap some benefits for our country. It cannot be a one-way street. So we are saying, you know, we are the Mecca of Carnival. We have the ecosystem in place, so we could make masks for several countries at the same time. So let's develop this second carnival, which will help a lot of the artists who making music during the carnival and look at play. We have a carnival too that could pick up the slack in a number of areas. And it can also be that renewed call for a kind of local focus. Because if you're having a second carnival, you have to start the market from June, July, August. So that's 3 extra months of local music, local content being played that wasn't played before. So things like that, you know, could make things happen for our industries. A lot of people seeing it and feel, well, like to our bacchanal, to whoever it is. But let's think about our country. Let's think about, you know. You
raise a very strong point as far as having a team when it comes to an artist, whether it be a public relations specialist, a booking specialist, a marketing specialist. Do you believe that government could play a role in having these things set up as part of the cultural, cultural aspect of things?
Well, I keep to be honest, our governments over the years have invested in, enough money into carnival and the art and so forth. So the time is now when the government can play a supporting role. The government own radio stations, TV stations, you make it available to these artists to promote their music and what they have to do. So be a facilitator. We own several venues, facilities, the stadium, the Napa, wherever it is. You formulate a plan so these venues become at minimum cost to our artists who are looking for exposure and sell themselves. So that is where the coordination needs to take place, not the government dipping into the treasury and handing out money like years gone by. Things have changed.
All right, and that's a strong point. I want to put you on the spot here. Let's say that the government gives a call and say, listen, Randy Glasgow, you have a budget of $150 million for 3 years. Would you be able to create a sort of an economic exit after that 3 years to say, you know what, I need no more money from you, no more handouts, no more subsidies, no more grants. I believe that what we have now can stand on its own and generate the revenue that is required?
I don't need 3 years, I need 2 years. Because you know, Mikey, and you call a figure, hit it on the head, where every year government gives NCC 150 million or they're about to spend for carnival. And a very high percentage of that money is spent on things that is not necessary or really needed. You're spending money on a carnival village when there's a grandstand that is empty. You're building a Calypso tent for $9 million next to a carnival village that is free. So it's obvious nobody will pay to go to the Calypso tent. So you could itemize things that is not necessary. So we could do a carnival, at a minimum cost and make sure it works for the country. It shouldn't be like the NCC. I always felt need restructuring. NCC shouldn't be just a distributing arm to give a big check to Tuco, NCB, and Pancho and Bego and collects nothing. It shouldn't work like that. I feel if government is subsidizing those organizations and doing something, if they do an event, you have to put aside some money for government also. Government is your partner. So government can't, through NCC, do all this work and build up infrastructure and rent water flow and do all this, and then you just come in and do your event, make your money, and go to the bank. You have to give the government a portion. So things like that, in 2 years, things will change drastically. We honestly feel we are at an era of self-sufficiency. So in the past, where an organization getting 16 million a year, 17 million a year, the money is scarce. We can't do that now.
You're right. You're right.
So you have to show us what you can do, how you're spending your money and the things you're doing, and we will help you. We have to help you market yourself because a group of guys running our organization, they were not trained in marketing, they were not trained in business. They're doing the thing and trying to do it as best as they could. So you need the experts to help you. You need the fundraisers, people to help you, to make it work. And that is how it's supposed to work. So that way you will get away from that dependency syndrome, as we have it for years, 10 years, 1 billion spent. And we have nothing to show for it. Those are facts.
You're right. You're right about that. And I think that the time has come for things to change. I mean, I think the culture needs to change within the culture. And start thinking outside the box and see how best these things can become self-sufficient to stand on their own. I mean, this is taxpayers' money, and the Prime Minister has set the tone that expenditure should be the focus, cutting expenditure. And I agree with you.
Yes. And the Prime Minister is on the button also. She said basically if you're an organization receiving government funding in the past, you have to tell us how that money was spent. You have to, if you understand, you have to give accountability to the nation, to the Prime Minister, how you're spending the people's money. And if you're not satisfied in that regard, how could you be given more money to spend?
You're right about that. You're right about that. So we look at, well, a lot can be said about this topic. and there are some people who may feel as though you're taking them out of their comfort zone. But I think in the long run, this is to benefit the culture and by extension, the country.
Of course, you know, as I said, they have to be helped. You get the experts for them. You know, we have some of the best promoters in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, and underutilized. So you can safely, you know, tell 3 of the best promoters, you work with this organization. See this other 3, you work with this organization. Show them, you know, how to do things the right way at a minimal cost and still get the best. We have those guys, and that is what the system needs. You know, that is what the system needs. People, professional people who understand what they're doing, you know, are entrusted with certain things that the government is doing. And then the results would be fantastic events. The results will be fantastic. So everything is there. It's just the guidance, how to do things. You know, I am confident with our new government, our Prime Minister, our Minister of Culture and so forth, things will be done differently for the benefit of the country and the citizens. Like, if I could allow me to say
Go
this.
Go ahead.
The Trinidad and Tobago last big carnival was under the Honorable Ms. Kamala Prasad sister in 2011. People just feel, well, you know, they know nothing about carnival, whatever. But our last big carnival festival was 2011, where Marshall won 2 million. The first time ever a Calypso singer won 2 million. If you remember those days.
Yeah.
That was under the leader. So people don't have to be frightened, and wherever the case may be, unless you do things differently, because you understand it like a science, and you have the right people doing the right things, and everything will fall into place.
My friend, we wait and see how this develops. I'll be checking in with you, of course, to get an update. And I must say, I really and truly think that, you know, that plan about becoming self-sufficient in less than 3 years is something that we must take seriously.
Yes, and we have to encourage it.
Yeah.
You know, what I recognize is excluded is the right people approaching the sponsors and so forth to help, because everyone knows government is there, so there is no need to raise those sponsorship money, and that is wrong. You know, that mindset have to change. You have sponsors there who are willing to sponsor, they get certain tax write-off. Don't get complacent and say, well, you know, government is there to support us, so we don't need to do this. You have to do it.
That's right.
You have to do it.
That's right. Again, thank you so much for taking time out to link with us this evening. Randy will be checking in with you again for an update. Thank you so much.
Yes, brother. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure being on your program.
Thank you so much.